Hey, welcome back to the Blue Collar Off-Road Podcast, episode 37. I'm here with Cody, Luke, Richie, and myself, Graham. And I don't think we've got anything crazy to report this week. A couple things here and there, work-wise. It was 4th of July weekend. Lots of fun and adventures going on there. I know I had a bunch of little stuff going on with my vehicles that may be worth mentioning. It was from the Cherokee. I did a battery tray. I've had an issue, and I think all Cherokees have issues with those the plastic battery trays with the little posts. I don't know about you guys, but the far forward one on mine has always been broken. It was just sort of it was there, it was holding everything down, but it was never connected to the plastic part. I had to kind of like put it in there, and then it was bolted to this tab, and it all just sort of it maintained itself in there. It was solid, but it was never right.
See, mine
So,
have always been ratchet strapped down, so I never even cared for that problem because I did have that one on my 95. My current one, I have the two posts, I just don't have the top plate. So,
oh,
yeah.
well, yeah, the top plate's kind of important. I at least have that, and
Oh, ratchet straps.
that's why that's how I've been able to baby it all these years. But after Richie's, a couple weeks ago, I looked at it and the post was gone, and the battery hadn't really moved around, but that one post was holding everything tight, and then it wasn't tight anymore.
Oh,
And
God.
it was time.
Blame my property.
No, your property definitely tests all my shitty parts, like my factory battery tray. So I got a new one. What?
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, before we go too far into a diatribe on Jeeps, how was everyone's fourth?
Oh, God. I mean, well, you could go ahead, Richie. That seemed very maniacal.
Saturday after getting out of work, I found out that I cannot race mini bikes if I have more than like 10, 11 beers in me. I will crash.
Well, that's a
Epically.
given.
That's kind of
Yeah.
the expected output, but I bet it was fun.
Oh, hell yeah. it was.
Wait, so by mini bike, are you talking like the Tractor Supply, like Craftsman's
actually.
ones? Dude,
Yeah, the
I went-
exact Tractor Supply.
I went to Tractor Supply. Sorry to like kind of cut you off, but I went to Tractor Supply to get some bolts for the because nobody fucking reminded me that when you do stiffeners that your steering box bolts no longer fucking work. So now I have to get new ones. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, for $650, I'm like, this would be such a sick Badlands ripper. I'm like, I fucking want one. So sorry that like it's just kind of funny that you were like,
No, I
Look around.
agree. It'd be a good place to use one for sure.
see,
But,
and if it works, like if my Jeep breaks, then I'll just follow you guys on the Reds. It'll be mint.
Oh, totally.
Me and
No,
Jacob always
man.
joke.
Oh, sorry, guys.
Me and
They
Jacob always
moved,
joke.
too.
Oh, sorry, Richie, you go.
I'm sorry, Graham.
No, it was your story. I'm interjecting.
Oh no,
Continue.
I was just saying the mini bikes move. Even with me on them, it still moves.
Yeah, they said that they go like 26 or something like that. Some
I-
speed.
I was not doing no 26, maybe downhill, but still, like for such a small bike, it still moves.
So were you racing it, or were you just like driving around like an asshole and then wiped out?
No, I was racing my brother-in-law.
Oh God.
He was on another one from Tractor Supply.
Not even playing field. Everybody has the same
Yeah.
horsepower.
All the trash.
Although I kind of forgot that the in-laws field floods whenever there's a lot of rain, and so I ended up clipping a like 8-inch deep puddle of water,
Oh boy.
and I fucking ate it.
Did the handlebars start wiggling? Like you hit it. Just...
No,
No?
the handlebars locked all the way to one side and flipped.
See, the way you fix that when you have a faster bike is you just throttle out harder to get the front end a little lighter, and you can just kind of skip across.
I was wide open.
Yeah. Well, on that bike, it ain't gonna work.
And then on Sunday we did the fireworks for the third year in a row, and I had a 16-ounce bottle rocket explode 8 feet from me on the ground.
Holy shit. So let me guess. You stuck it in the ground and it just stayed there.
Yep.
I've done that before.
I will say, it's the third year that we've gotten these bottle rockets, and it's the third year that I did the same thing where I stick it in the ground and then I pull it back up so it's loose. Never had a problem. For some reason this year, problem.
So are they like the ones that looks like a big old egg on top of like a really kind of big stick?
No, a mini stick of dynamite is what it looks like.
Yeah, we were playing around with a few of those, but I had one that like I'm talking a sizable egg. Like I don't know, probably the size of like my foot, but an egg. And we did the exact same thing. We stuck it in the ground and it was pretty big, so we just assumed that it would take off. We lit it. It just went boo! It shot like an explosion across the whole entire yard. It was.
It's always that time when you realize that it's time to run.
I ended up just tackling a kid because we had a 15-year-old with us.
Mm-hmm.
So I just tackled him and just laid on top of him to make sure he didn't get hurt. Because he was right behind me, you know?
That's funny.
So yeah, my side's all bruised up and shit.
Dumbass.
Yeah.
What else did you guys do?
I moved a friend of mine who came down to Tennessee in.
Nice. That's always
That
fun.
was kind of fun. So they came down here. He's got a 2012 white F-250 6.7 quad cab 8-foot bed, and he was towing down a U-Haul trailer, and they had the truck bed loaded down, and he had all of like his work tools and whatnot in there. They had a Subaru that they loaded up with a bunch of house supplies and whatnot, and they've got movers bringing more stuff down. But he asked his buddy with a lifted 6.0 to tow his trailer down, which had all of his shop stuff. So it's the 4th, and I get a text, hey, we're an hour out. Okay, cool. Go over there. The trailers ripped the hitch off of the 6.0, like tore the metal
down.
Yep.
Yeah,
oh,
like
dude.
Opened up, like, and was held up to the frame rail by ratchet straps to get it in there.
It's the cross, so pretty much the piece that crosses and then holds the hitch, right? It twisted and ripped down.
Yep.
I've done that before. I've been there.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
it was a little bit of an older hitch, but it wasn't as rotted out as I was expecting it to be for the level of carnage that incurred.
So
they also towed it
overweight or raw?
overweight.
I'd probably say both though, because
Definitely
it would start.
both.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like.
If it wasn't overweight, it wouldn't have happened. But to give you an idea as to the amount of ton weight that was on there, they're like, shit, I was going to tow the trailer back, but there's no way I'm towing it back like this. And I'm like, I don't blame you. So, it ended up being that they got in so late and they had driven through the night and they hit like all the areas that you could possibly hit traffic. They hit like multiple hour traffic jams.
Oh.
So they were on the road. We made it in 18 hours when you factor in our stopping and like staying for the hotel and whatnot. Total on the road time. They made it in 23 and a half driving straight through with repetitive issues. So they didn't want to go to the storage unit and all that. So I'm like, whatever. I hooked my truck up and I start taking the jack down.
Whoa, before you go anywhere, you just saw what it did to a similar truck. Similar year, and you said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna hook my truck up to it."
Hook it up.
Yeah, well, it was at a condo. Like he moved into a townhouse, and so there was no way that we could unload it because all this stuff had to go to the storage unit, and the storage unit was 10, 15 miles away. So I'm like, whatever, just do it. And my hitch also isn't rotted. It's like brand new. It's never been abused. So I start cranking the jack down. and I see my truck hit the helper, and I'm like, all right, this should be good. Nope, keeps going. I'm like, all right, let's go.
All the way down to the bump stop, right?
I've got the foam cushion things in there that aren't the bump stops, but they're like to help with the weight.
Yep.
Hit those, went down another half of an inch, and then we unload the U-Haul, and there's over 1,000 pounds of weights in the U-Haul because he's a heavy weightlifter. So those ended up in my truck bed. And my truck is on the bags all the way. And I go to pull out, and it doesn't feel bad. Oh, and it doesn't have trailer brakes because the wiring harness.
Oh, fuck that. I don't care who you are as a friend. If you're heavy hauling, you didn't load it right, it's multiple thousand pounds, and there's no trailer brakes, eat shit. Start taking shit off, and then I'll pull it. Fuck that.
So I pull out onto the main road, and I'm slowly starting to speed up, and the truck's doing fine with it. And I get up to 70. And I look down, and it's turning 4,500 RPMs going up like a light grade. And then we got into the heavy grade going up the hill to my place. And, it held at 3K, but it was acting like it was towing my Jeep with just this single axle 5K rated trailer and 1,000 pounds of weights in my bed.
It's got to be a Ford thing because I've put a lot of weight in the back of my Chevy, and I have not had it that bad. So maybe it's just your shitty Ford.
It must be, but that shitty Ford moves my shitbox XJ a lot easier than the Chevy did.
No, I don't blame you. I'm just
1,500.
I'm kind of just surprised though. That's fucking
no, it was wickedly
a lot of weight, dude. That's
oh yeah.
Because I put a Bobcat, and it was a 9,000 pound Bobcat on the back of my truck with 6 8-foot parking blocks. You know what I'm talking about, the concrete parking blocks, and those things you can't move those by hand. And unless granted, yeah, I loaded it myself, so I kind of balanced everything, but I didn't even have that much of a trouble. So that fucking thing must have been stupid heavy.
It was stupid heavy. He had one of those long Harbor Freight rollaways, and then he had 3 of those rigid job boxes filled with weights and weightlifting supplies, and then he had his power tools in another one that was stacked with the legs taken off of it on top of another one, and a motorcycle lift. And I'm gonna go with at least 300 pounds of bullets. On there.
That still doesn't seem like enough though to make it do that.
It was all ton weight.
Yeah, but your truck should still be able to hold. I think it's literally 2,500 pounds in the bed of your truck or something like that. Or
oh yeah, but you're talking about multiple rigid job boxes, a motorcycle lift that weighs 500 pounds, all the tools that he had for working on motorcycles. Richie has seen the guy's shop at his house. All of that was on that little 16-foot long single axle, and the axle is all the way in the back, so it all ends up as tongue weight.
Jesus, that's sketchy. So, fuck that.
Yeah, so the trailer ended up bent. The trailer axle is bent. If you know anyone that's looking for a mint trailer in Cleveland, Tennessee, $1,000 or best offer, take it away.
So what you're saying is it looked like Dan had it for a week.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very fitting description.
That's a fun 4th. I went to a buddy's house, did some fireworks. Okay, I say it like it was a nonchalant thing. These motherfuckers go crazy for fireworks. I'm talking 4-foot tall stacks, 8 of them, full of fireworks. They all the whole 9 yard. It's a great time. And then Monday we went go-karting. For my birthday, they invited me out to go go-karting with them. And
Happy birthday, fucktard. We love you.
My birthday's been a few weeks back now, but still.
Oh, okay.
Funny enough, actually, today is my mom's birthday, and that kid, Marco, whose house I went to for the fireworks, is their birthday today. But still, Went out there, kicked some ass, a few seconds ahead of, or well, technically it's like 1 to 0.5 seconds faster than everybody else. But on a 15-second track, that's fast. So, but it was a good time. I accidentally slid into my friend's girlfriend and definitely feel like I broke her rib. But it was a good time. It's a good time.
What about you, Graham?
Well, minus the the Jeep work and the J20 work, I got a message on the day of the 4th, early in the morning. They're like, "Hey, do you want to come down to Rhode Island? We're doing a barbecue and we're gonna have fireworks and stuff." And I was looking at the weather, and on the North Shore it was pouring rain the whole day, and it was going to continue raining. And in Rhode Island, it was not going to be raining by the time I was going to be there. So I figured, fuck yeah, I'm going to go and, have a barbecue and shoot some fireworks and hang out with people and have it not be pouring rain. Because that sounds the
Question.
way.
Did you hold the Roman candle the proper way this time? Not facing at your dick?
I was gonna ask that.
I didn't shoot any. No.
Okay.
So I didn't have to deal with that, fortunately.
You probably didn't shoot any because everyone heard about that.
Yeah, so that was a good time. That was with Jess and Logan and all those guys who I had met at the the wedding. I'd hung out with them for a week in North Carolina, so it was
That's cool.
all good friends,
cool.
all people I had basically lived with for the week, and it was all a good time. And I purposely didn't drink a lot. I had a couple beers, and then I was there for probably 5 hours. Figured I was gonna drive home late, get home, then I can have a productive, 5th. Well, in this story, I've now replayed it back to probably every group of friends or people I know at this point, and it still gets me. It's kind of a wacky scenario, and I'm still sort of unraveling it the more I talk about it. It's kind of interesting. Is on my way back at around 12, the alternator on the J20 just stopped charging. So, and this was really a bigger issue mainly because of the EFI, which I didn't really, I didn't think about it until I was dead on the side of the road and had plenty of time to think about why am I here? But with the EFI, it doesn't charge or it doesn't fire past about 8 volts. So I drove it till it had no more voltage in the battery to fire the injectors and run the fuel pump, yada yada. And then I was dead on 295. And it wasn't too late. I didn't really think anything of it at the time. I called AAA. I've always had AAA. Got 100 miles. Just looking
Wasn't
at the GPS.
Wasn't it 2 a.m.?
We're getting there.
Getting there. Okay, sorry. I just trying to put the time zone of what I thought, or the time.
Oh yeah, no,
what I thought.
Exactly. See, every time I tell the story, it becomes clearer for myself and others as it goes. But
all right, so
initially it was not that late.
Mm-hmm. When was the initial AAA call? Roughly.
Well, I can look it up if you want the exact time, but it was probably around 12:30.
Okay.
And I was
so we
on
have
hold.
The start of the time.
Yes. I was on hold with AAA for about an hour, which isn't. It's happened before. If it's a busy night, I get it. Whatever. I was in a safe spot on the side of the highway, just chilling. Like it was
a safe spot on the side of the highway.
Yeah, I mean, I was off. I was off halfway in the breakdown lane, halfway in the grass, because I knew I was going to be there for a minute.
Dude, you do realize that's what they clarify as not a safe place, right?
Oh, I mean, I was there for hours, so it was pretty fucking safe.
they always say oh, are you in a safe spot? Meaning, are you in a parking lot? Are you at your driveway?
No, I was not there. Oh, they brought me there. They brought me to a safe spot, all right. But yeah, so about after an hour on the phone, I get a guy. So now it's probably 1:30 at this point. I get a guy on the phone from AAA. He's like, "Oh yeah, where are you now?" I told him my location. The typical AAA bullshit. They figure out where you are and they figure out who's going to tow you. He said, "Oh yeah, okay, we can get a tow truck driver to you in half an hour," which is honestly for AAA. At the time, other than the wait I was on for the call, I didn't really think anything of it because a half hour for them is pretty good. Usually it's about 20 minutes to 40 minutes. And if it took them an hour to get me on the phone, that means they're pretty busy. So half an hour for a tow truck isn't bad. So wait about another half an hour, and then I get another call. So where are you again? Are you going east? It said you were going east. This is 295 has a south and a north. There's no east and west.
I was gonna say that, but I was like, maybe I'm wrong. I was like, but I'm pretty sure it runs from like Milford down to the Cape area. Like,
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so there was red flag number one. And then they tell me, well, we can get a driver to you, but they can't take you to Marblehead. They can't take you back 77 miles. So I was like, okay, well, what can they do? What are my options? And they said, well, they can take you to a safe location, off the highway. And this is sort of when Cody, I'd talked with you and Colin a little bit, because I mean, at this point, it's probably
2:33,
2 in the morning, right? And I'm still sitting there with no tow truck in sight. And they're like, oh yeah, we can promise one in half an hour, and it'll bring you off the highway. So now I'm sort of just confused as to what the fuck I'm supposed to do. And in between the time I was waiting for the driver, I think they called me one other time, for whatever reason, and they asked me, or I asked them if they could tow me 27 miles instead of 77 miles. They're like, no, we can't do it. We don't have enough drivers, yada yada, something. But they've got enough drivers to put me on the truck to take me off the highway. And
that's crazy.
God forbid they drive, half an hour to just get me somewhere.
Too easy.
When I pay for the membership to give
it's like
me
$100 a fucking
miles
year. Yeah.
To go 100 miles, and I don't use it. That's not true. I used to use it a whole bunch, and it never had any issues with it. I haven't really used it too much past couple years. Like, I haven't needed to go long distances. Previously, I have. They've had no issue taking me, but I think it was sort of just the perfect storm of 4th of July night and, just the time of night that there were just not a lot of drivers. So
it just doesn't make sense, though. It really doesn't make sense because they don't do like towaways or like DUI towaways. So like, what else are they fucking doing on 4th of July night? Like, why can't? That's fucking crazy.
And there was like other conversation too that I'm sort of skipping on because the story could drag on forever.
Hold on, AAA has other contracts with other towing companies.
Yep.
Dude, I don't know, dude. Fuck that.
Yep.
I would have been like at the point of going thermonuclear.
We aren't even at the best part. Hold on.
Oh God.
But yeah, I mean, and there was another portion that I sort of missed where one of the dispatchers I was talking to was like, "Wait, you were on hold for an hour? We're not getting that many calls. Like, they're not that busy." I was like, "But why was I waiting for so long? Like, come on!" It was just
They forgot about
there
you.
was a lot of miscommunication throughout the entire thing, and it only gets more apparent as I continued throughout the night. So I think around 2:30, the tow truck finally showed up, and I get in with the guy pulls it onto the bed. Get in with him, talking with him for a little bit. I was like, "So, I've got to go somewhere, and you're not allowed to tell me far. Where do you want to drop me?" He said, "Well, the Lincoln Mall is pretty close, and I can stop at a gas station for you too. I'm gonna get my lunch, and you could probably get some supplies for the night." And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds like a plan." So I went to the 24-hour gas station. I got some water, some granola bars, and an energy drink for the morning. And then he towed me to the Lincoln Mall, and it was
What?
it was surreal. He was like, "So where do you want me to put you?" I was like, "Well, let's look for a place that's not under a street light or a light, and the back could probably be secluded." So he brings me around to the back, takes it off the flatbed, and that's where I slept for the night. And
Why couldn't you have him bring you to like a truck stop or something to where at least you might have some form of normal supplies?
Because, okay, he was not comfortable doing this either. This is just what they told him to do. Like, the truck driver was like, "Yeah, this is fucking bullshit. Like, you shouldn't have to deal with this." But I literally can't drive you.
You should have worked out a deal with him.
Dude, I would
have. He had to go to Providence or something. Like, he had other things like that they had lined up for him, so he couldn't take me anywhere but like off the highway. They had strictly told him that they couldn't take me where I needed to go.
What?
That's
Yep.
a major bip.
Dude, think of the fucking lawsuit. If you had gotten like attacked or something that night, the potential
Oh, yeah.
lawsuit you could have
Or
had. Holy
if it was
shit,
like actually cold out. I mean, fortunately, it was a pretty mild night. Like it wasn't
dude. That's
cold, but and then the best part was after they dropped me there, I probably got called 3 times by 3 different dispatchers, and each time they were like, "So we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do to tow your vehicle, and it's an unoccupied tow, right? Like you're gonna get a ride, you got a ride, and it's just we're picking up the vehicle for you in the morning." I was like, "No, I'm in the truck because this is what you decided you were gonna do with me. So if you can get me a tow truck, that'd be great. And I don't even need to go the 77 miles. If you could just tow me 27, like that'll be great." And then
what?
yeah, so this went on from when I was dropped off till 3:30. I think they gave me the last call. And at 3:30 they were like, "Well, this person." At this point I was, I was getting pretty frustrated with them just calling me with there was no reason for them to be calling me. They were literally just calling me because they were confused as fuck as to what I was doing. And I was like, "Well, listen, if it's gonna be the same song and dance every fucking hour that you can't get me a tow truck, or it's gonna be another hour or 90 minutes before you can even say what the availability is gonna be, just leave it. Call me at 7 tomorrow when this shift changes and tow me. I don't want to get another fucking call and have to, I'm trying to get at least some sleep tonight." Like,
Yeah. Well, dude, that puts such a sour taste in my mouth for AAA. Like, I've never once, dude. We were out in Huntington, which is like an hour and a half into the fucking boonies from my house. We called them at 3 in the morning, like 4 o'clock in the morning, during the beginning of COVID, to come and pick us up with a dog, and they still did it. So for the fact of them to not even be able to fucking pick you up, I think actually, it might have been 4th of July. I genuinely think it was 4th of July that we were up there, and they still came out and fucking got us. That's crazy.
yeah, I don't know. It was odd. It was a very surreal experience that I never would have expected to have with AAA. But it is what it
Yeah,
is.
that's like what happens when you go on Wish.com and buy AAA.
Dude, seriously, did you get the Groupon version of AAA or something? Like, how the fuck did you get screwed that bad?
I don't know.
I've told the story in private, but Kish can attest to this one. We were on our way back from Pennsylvania,
God.
Roush Creek, and I had some shitty swampers, and I think I've mentioned this on the podcast, so I'm going to be real brief with it, but one of them started throwing the tread off, like literally throwing chunks of rubber, like clean off the tire.
Full delaminations.
Oh, God.
So I'm like, okay, well, I've got a spare. I had just thrown the spare on right before we went to go to Roush, so no big deal. Slap it on. Another couple hours goes on. Not even a couple hours. Another hour goes on. He hit a really bad pothole. My Jeep felt like it got punched as the tire came up, hit the door, and then I think it punched Richie in the arm because he had his arm out the window. So that one went down.
Well, from the fucking rubber launching itself off with the tire.
So we pull over as a convoy, and my buddy had a mutual friend of ours had a 2.8 84 Cherokee that one of the heads let go on. So he was on a AAA truck already on his way home. So we pull over and they keep going, and the other guy that was with us like, "I'm so sorry, dude, but like he's in the car. We got to get this figured out. Call AAA." Well, we looked at the tire, realized that the spare was literally sitting in the back, delaminated, no fucking air in it because it was just on the passenger front and or on the driver front, I mean. And the passenger front's let go. All right, well, we'll continue going for a little while. So we were going slow. Rear tire delaminates. Fuck, okay. Call AAA. It's like, what time was that? Maybe like 10 o'clock at night?
Earlier than that.
9 o'clock at night. And so we're waiting for AAA for about 3-4 hours.
Yep.
They showed up. They hooked us up. And we started to get back on the highway, and the truck blew the turbocharger. Like, boot, clean off, blew the turbo. Guy's like, I gotta limp this thing home. So he unloads us backwards on a on-ramp or on a truck stop, like to get back on the highway ramp. And we're 80 something miles from home at this point.
I thought we were still in Pennsylvania when that happened.
No, that was New York, almost to the Connecticut border.
Okay.
So
Oh, yep.
we're waiting, and it's almost 3 a.m, and they still haven't been able to find another truck. And they're like, we can't find another truck for you until maybe 8 tomorrow morning, if you're lucky. So we ended up turning around on that ramp, and I drove in the breakdown lane all the way from the New York-Connecticut border, like maybe 30 miles from the border, home at 30 miles an hour on tires that were like delaminated because, yeah.
And then Luke brought me to work.
In my dad's Jetta because we were at my house.
Jesus Christ.
So
See, this is why, hopefully Johnny B's listening, don't buy Super Swampers or boggers. I said bonkers.
Bonkers.
Bonkers. Those things are bonkers.
Don't
dude.
buy those bonker tires.
They
Well, they had a
trash.
date code of 2000, so it was 2014. They were 14-year-old tires, and I had just beat the shit out of them. And then my transmission shit the bed the next week.
But also, to put it in perspective, it took us 5.5 hours to get to Roush.
Yeah.
We
It took
left
us-
Roush at noon, and we didn't get back to Terryville, Plymouth
Till about
until 3:34.
No, I was still trying to get AAA. We didn't get home till almost 5.
Oh, we didn't get home until 5 the next morning.
Jesus.
So that's
Yeah.
18 hours, 17 hours.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
That's absolutely horrible.
And in this time period, someone lost their fingertip, blew up a 2.8 liter.
The guy with the 2.8 liter,
Yes.
he lost a fingertip.
He
It
might
was
have
a-
a worse day than you guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
That was always an entertaining time.
So they ended up deciding to pick up an auxiliary E-fan for the guy with the 2.8, and they were trying to figure out which way the fan blew because it wasn't marked, and yet he found out which way it blew with his finger.
Yeah.
To clarify for anybody listening, the generic and most likely way to determine that is whichever side doesn't spin, that's where the airflow goes through. Just so everybody knows. So,
On a fan?
yeah, unless you're wiring it fucking backwards to make it spin the opposite way, they're generally wired so that way
See,
it
the
blows
electric
from-
fan I just put on the J20 actually has the piece is on both sides, so there's no way to. The only way to know which direction it spins is it's got this little arrow on it, which I guess makes it pretty easy to determine. But
I forget
thing.
why this was going on. I just know that at the point where this had happened, we'd already been on the road for multiple hours. The dude was probably heat stroking because it was a 84 with no air conditioning and multiple engine problems. So yeah,
that's
it was.
bad when you're in a vehicle that's hot as shit. And you don't have
Oh,
water.
he had the
like,
heat on. He had to
Oh,
have
yeah,
the
'cause he
heat
was
on to
overheating?
keep it.
Yeah,
Yep.
been there. You just have to have like a fucking case of water. You're not
Yeah.
like you don't even have to worry about peeing. You're just gonna
Pretty
let all
sure
that
he
shit
did.
out. Yeah, well,
Pretty
I guess
sure
you can
he
only do
did.
it for so long.
Yeah,
Although
it
we
was-
did have a nurse in the convoy,
Yep, she
so
took care of his finger.
she wrapped up the finger real nice and pretty.
Jesus.
Oh my fucking god.
Good times. Brought to you by Roush Creek, Pennsylvania. I can't wait to go back.
The best of times.
So that was my AAA horror story, and why I don't, or why you will
that sounds
never.
about the same as mine. It seems like if they don't have their shit together, like you're fucked. It definitely sort of opened my eyes, like to you can't always rely on. I mean, they're usually slow, but chances are they'll give you the runaround until there's no option for them, and then you're just fucked. So it's definitely gonna change my mindset and how I prepare for some of these things, because
So, Grant, what is the conclusion to your story, though?
Well, the conclusion was I slept for 2.5 hours, woke up to the street sweeper in the morning, sweeping the mall parking lot, and then sort of chilled there for a minute. Had my granola bar and my energy drink. Got a call from them at 6:30, and they had a truck to me at 7, and then they towed me the 27 miles to my buddy's place.
That's horrible.
And then we figured out the alternator situation there and got it charging good enough to go the rest of the way home on its own.
So you want to explain the alternator situation? Because it's somewhat a technical podcast, so
Yeah,
we pretend
fair.
at least once in a
It's
while.
not just story time with Graham, Cody, Luke, and Richie.
Well, I have a feeling there are multiple issues with it. I'm not 100% convinced it was purely the alternator's fault. It's got some questionable wiring throughout the whole, charging system and power system. It's set up like it's supposed to be a GM one-wire alternator, but it's not. It's using the AMC. The alternator that's supposed to be in the truck is in the truck. There just is some wiring missing, and the wires that are there are going to the thing like it's a GM one wire. So it's definitely got some hokey bullshit. I've done too much reading on how it's supposed to be wired to try and alleviate it. What ultimately helped initially, and the reason I've been able to drive it pretty much worry-free for the past several months, other than this time, was because I redid all of the main battery cables. So, I mean, it was just getting, clean power to most locations, and it actually started charging properly, because the whole thing with the GM one wire is it doesn't charge at idle. It only charges when you're moving, which isn't usually a problem, but if it's not charging well to begin with, it is a problem. But even with when we got to my buddy's, to Colin's house, actually, it was we put a new alternator in it. It had a lower voltage or lower output alternator, and I got the higher of the two, because it's got a whole bunch of electrical shit on it, right? It's got the EFI now, it's got the dump bed, it's got the shit for the plow in the front. Like, there's a lot going on with it electrically, so I figured that wouldn't hurt it to put the better alternator on it. And even when we put that in, it wasn't charging right. So I have a feeling there's something going on with either that ground cable it's got in it, which looks fine, but it isn't one of the ones I replaced. And technically it should ground through the block as well. It shouldn't need that, I don't think. From what we were reading while we were trying to figure out why the fuck it still wasn't charging with a brand new alternator, that was one of the things we looked at. But
so, just to put something in perspective, though, I know that Caitlin has been having troubles with her ground again, and her battery and her alternator are brand new. And I'm 95% sure that the reason it's not charging is because it doesn't have the ground from the block, or that the ground from the block was not work. Yeah, to the battery.
Yeah,
because I don't know if that's granted. That's many years of differences between your J20 and her 2006 Wrangler, but still.
I don't think hers is an issue with it not charging, though, right? I'm pretty sure it's just that the voltage reading on the gauge isn't right. I don't.
No.
Is it?
No. It literally.
Oh, is it?
No,
just
I think so. I think what's happening is it literally is not allowing power to the battery, because that ground is no longer there. I mean, that's how electricity works. It needs a ground to have a source to make the circuit.
Mm-hmm.
So if it doesn't have the ground, then it's not making the circuit, and it's just running off the battery.
Well, you ought to check the control wires to it as well, because if it doesn't have those, it's never.
Those are new. They're new. Her and her dad went crazy with the alternator. They changed everything except that one ground. It's in sorry to derail your thing, but it's in the most stupid position to tighten or loosen it. You literally have to hold the wires, get in there super deep to get to it. And it's fucking stupid. So we've just been scraping it, and every once in a while it goes away, and then it comes back. And
yep. Well, what we did then, we did a lot of random shit, and all at once too. So it wasn't like we were being scientific about it. We were just throwing things at it to get it to charge at all. And what seemed to do the trick, what I think did the trick, was changing where the power wire from the alternator was going. Now it's supposed to go to, at least I think that's how it was, and that's what I read on the the 87 AMC schematic for the thing, is it's supposed to go to the starter solenoid. That starter solenoid has about, and it's just a common rail power post on the starter solenoid, so it's not like it's not directly connected to the battery. It literally just goes up one wire and it's at the battery. It's just a big post with everything on it. But it's not the original starter solenoid for the thing to begin with, or the the switch. I don't know if they call that a solenoid. I think that's what it is. But moving that from the solenoid with all the other random shit to the battery directly seemed to give it some of its own juice, right? And I think maybe that was part of it. Maybe I need to change that starter solenoid. There's something going on with that. I don't know what the voltage limit on it is. I don't know what it's supposed to be getting, or amperage, or whatever the fuck it is. But it's old. It doesn't ground it. It grounds through the body. It's got a self-tapper that grounds the fucking thing. And I've already had to deal with that previously when I first got the thing. So who knows? I mean, there's just so much hokey bullshit. Initially when I got it, sometimes it wouldn't turn off. And that was because all the wires were like, they literally just took the wires and twisted them all together and wrapped them around the post and then tightened the nut down, which that's no good. And occasionally it just wouldn't turn off. So there's some control wires in there that were getting fucky initially, and that shouldn't happen, right? I don't know.
I had a funny problem like that with one of my old Cherokees. We had to run, like, the E-fan wasn't turning on, so we just hot wired it into the we pulled the ignition fuse and then just shoved the wire in there and then shoved it in, and it just wouldn't turn off. It would, like, you turn it off and you'd wait and wait, and sometimes it would turn off in like 2 seconds, sometimes it'd be like 10 seconds.
That's actually because you wired the fan is technically a generator as well. So when you take key power off, the fan is spinning, generating power, and it's continuing to keep the ignition powered. So that is why it would take a second to turn off.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's funny how that stuff works. But yeah, there's more to go through with that. And then anybody
Have you tried hitting it with the biggest possible bronze hammer you can? That might fix it.
I don't think it will. See, electrical problems, brute force doesn't fix electrical problems. You have to actually look for the problem and resolve it.
What's
methodically.
that? What?
I don't know. What is the problem?
Does not compute.
Oh,
No.
do you want to know something? Speaking about Cherokees and fucked up shit and Jeeps and whatnot. So, me and Marvell this weekend were building his bumper. First off, he used a torch to cut the holes into the bumper plates because he decided that would be a lot quicker than drilling the holes.
Oh, it definitely
Whatever.
is.
It is, whatever.
I don't blame
it came out
him.
nice. He's right. I know when he's not 100% about doing something because he asks me for validation on it. And then if I say no, he just does it anyways, but he wants to validate his idea if I say yes. So we do it. Everything's good. And we're measuring everything, checking it because he wants to do a hidden winch. He wants to put it behind the bumper and have it only stick out about, like, actually it sticks out less than my bumper, which is pretty impressive. But
Clearance is clearance.
correct. And like he has 4 inches from the flywheel to it, but your radiator only has 2 inches from the actual fan clutch to the radiator. So we're like, we'll know, like, you're gonna hit that before you hit the winch. So at least we have some safe area. But so we put it in and we're thinking about it. And I'm like, yeah, dude, think about it. Like, why would Colin and Graham have their winch offset, dude? Like, we would have noticed that their bumper, the winch was offset.
Huh? Yep.
Bro, those motherfuckers have an offset winch, and I never fucking realized it.
I got the call, and they were like, "Is your winch offset?" I was like, "Yeah, by a couple inches. It's not perfectly centered." Couldn't
Dude,
be.
so frustrating to then realize that, like, we're just fucking idiots and cut everything straight. Everything was
it's
good.
amazing how the mind works, right? That our winches are not centered on the bumpers at all. Colin's is a little more than mine. Mine, because I've got the hydro assist mounted in that funky way with the end cap had to be over like another inch. And even then, like it's still installing that bumper, it touches that fitting. It's that tight of a clearance to the thing. But yeah, I don't. It's funny how you look at it and you're like, oh, that's got to be centered, right? They built that right. No. You look at it, and if you're actually looking at it for that, like
it's a good 3 inches to the, if I remember correctly, left.
Passenger.
Yes, and we then realized it, and now he had to cut a new piece and reuse it because we are. Why
didn't you just cut new holes?
Because structurally, it just makes more sense to.
They're tiny holes. Weld them up.
Yeah, I know, and I think he might have, but like what last we talked again, it was one of those things of validation. He's like, "Well, could I just drill new holes and put it over?" I'm like, "You could, but you shouldn't." And so I don't know. We shall see. Because like it was so.
It ships.
Correct, and he ended up. Sorry. He did end up making a new piece or whatever. He put it all on and it fits. And I'm impressed with him. But like, dude, that realization of just like, damn, we're fucking idiots. And we could have just asked somebody before we measured. And don't get me wrong, the dude measured perfectly. All the bolt holes went in straight. Everything went in straight. Slid it in, and he had just enough room because he cut the line, he cut the piece on the that cross member there, and it like fit in perfectly. And then we're just like dunk onto the steering box, and yeah.
Nice.
To be fair, Cody,
sorry.
I would have thought it was perfectly centered too.
Yeah, right. That's what I would have assumed.
If I was on my own, I wouldn't have even thought of that.
Well, take a closer look at it next time you see it. It's not even close.
No, I guarantee that I'm going to not be able to see it now every time I look at your guys' Jeep.
Yep.
Yeah. And like you genuinely don't realize it, but then once you do, it's pretty noticeable. But like my brain definitely thought that it was it was offset, genuinely. But
yep.
Oh well, I'm stupid, but it came out good. We did my fucking Buck and Caitlin are gonna hate me for this one, but we did my trans cooler, my radiator, and I guess it's 3 times the charm to getting your trans coolers dead 90 because Caitlin's looks like crackhead put their fucking glasses on sideways as they mounted it because the thing's at an angle. Buck, this is a slight angle. Then you look at mine and it's just fucking dead nuts flat.
My power steering cooler is just zip tied to the grill. Yeah. I didn't even give a shit.
Why didn't you just use the little fucking the tie, like the little?
Because it didn't come with them. Because I had it laying around from another project.
Oh, you can go to the store and buy them. You can buy
I got
mine. Think about who you're talking to.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I got my whole kit for dirt cheap, like really dirt cheap.
Think about who you're talking to.
I guess you're right, but I mean,
like, do you really think that there is an iota of care about that?
Well, I mean, you don't care now, but you will when it breaks.
And then I'll just deal with it. Again,
why don't you just put it on correctly so it doesn't have to break?
Because good enough is sometimes just good enough.
My trans cooler is just zip tied to my grill, and the zip ties have in fact broken a few times before. I just re-zip tie it.
Fair, yeah, whatever works.
Yeah, but like mine,
judge your power.
I'm not gonna lie though.
But if it's not straight, I do judge you a little bit harder.
My lines, like the actual routing of my lines, though, looks fucking minty. Like everything just looks and flows so nicely. But the only thing is, when I do a steering box cooler, I'm gonna have to do 180s out of it, so that way it routes backwards. So that way I could put another good size, because I think I got a 7500 GVW for the trans, which I don't even fucking need, to be honest with you. The thing's massive.
Yeah, you will want that.
You'll be surprised. Caitlin's, like, we'll go on a long drive, like. When we went to Maine, you could literally take your hand, put it on both sides of the cooler, and they're cold, completely cold.
Okay. Now, dumb question here, because I'm not that smart. But when was the last time Caitlin's Jeep sat there, nose up, trying to crawl a ledge or a black trail for like an hour and a half, and
Fair
you
enough.
know, Cody decides that he's going to start driving by braille and taking, as he calls them, entertaining lines, and really working that thing. Caitlin's Jeep, driving down the highway, all you're going to do is just force air right through that. Driving up a nice hill climb, you're not going to pull any air because, like, it's crazy to think about, but when we're getting a shit ton of wheel speed, we might barely be hitting 20 miles an hour, and the Jeep's moving
20?
3 to 5.
Okay, yeah, I guess wheel speed, maybe. Maybe.
If you've got a Jeep moving at 20 fucking miles an hour on the trail, you're fucking hauling.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess you're right, but like, I don't know.
My
It's
shit
just-
gets hot if I'm hammering on it or not going anywhere.
Yep.
But I also
I'm sure
currently
everyone's
have
does.
I currently have
Mhm.
the problem of the problem of like my power steering overheating. So I don't know. We shall see. I definitely have a lot to do before I kind of tackle that problem anyways. So
And since I got shit on about how my cooler was angled, I have to ask how my Jeep is doing, Kish.
It's
Cooler
got a
still
drive
angled.
shaft.
Yay!
I haven't been able to find the fucking seat bolts on the floor.
They are
anywhere.
literally on the floor, like right next to the pedals.
The floor of the fucking Jeep. I thought you meant the shop floor.
Nope.
Oh no.
Son of a bitch.
He's crawling around on his hands and knees just looking for the bolts.
I spent like 45 minutes on my knees looking.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. I thought that
Son of a bitch.
I thought that when I said on the phone they were next to the pedal, you would have gotten what I was talking about.
I didn't hear you say that. I just heard floor.
Well, I guess that
I
answers that
wasted
question.
so much time looking.
Okay then.
Jesus
There's
Christ.
nothing like losing those parts that you left right in the most obvious spot.
Yeah.
Granted, it's not Richie's fault because he was the one
No.
who put them there. But
No, it is
I've
not
been
his
there.
fault.
I'm sure
Um,
everyone's been there. Like, where the fuck did that go?
Well, it's just like with everything that's been going on down at the shop and how many times shit's just been put here, then put there, put here, put there. I wasn't surprised when I got told they were on the floor.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, they could have gotten knocked out. They could have been used for mock-up on something and left there, whatever. I was like, okay, no big deal.
So at this point, what's left? Throw a hatch on it and throw the seat in it?
Hatch and seat, yeah.
Nice. So given the fact
And then-
that
Clean the trash out.
nice. Sweet. So I'm excited to have that thing get up to Graham. Trying like hell to make Roush happen. I gotta see how it's gonna go because I just started my job today, so I don't know if they're gonna. And the
I thought
other
that was
guy that
already in your like agreement.
I told them, but they were very surprised when I told them that I had to go back up to Connecticut as I had told them in the agreement. So
When?
Then they
Wait,
can
when do you have to
they
go?
can go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
You
Eat
know,
shit.
it's in the agreement.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to figure that out. But
You'll be fine. You got a couple months.
yeah, I'm gonna hammer that. I told them Memorial Day weekend and I wanted my birthday off, but even if I don't get my birthday off, I can live with it as long as I can get up to Connecticut and whatnot.
Or you can just have
Wow.
Jacob drive it down for you, and you can meet us there.
Jacob's gonna be in for a fun time.
He's driven worse. I guarantee you. He's trying
Wait,
to get
so-
He's trying to get the red truck for Badlands. He's trying to get that ready. He's got this whole week off, so
No shit.
we'll
Wow.
see where he's at.
So he'll be
Maybe
running.
down
He'll be running with the little group then. Little group. Little group.
Yeah, if he gets it going,
Hell yeah.
we'll see. He's got a bunch of the pieces, good to go. It's mostly just like ball joints and random maintenance bits and finishing the sliders that he's got.
What size tires?
37s.
Lockers?
He's getting a spool for one, and we have welders.
He's okay. So
It's got
okay.
lockouts,
I mean,
so it doesn't matter. Like,
no, I'm
it's
just
all the
making
fun.
sure that I don't know. I'm just making sure that he's not going to go up and just hate Badlands because
Oh, he might, but
he hasn't
he
been-
knows.
he hasn't been to Badlands before, has he?
Nope.
Oh Christ Almighty! Oh
But
no!
I'm excited to see him actually motivated to work on that piece of shit.
It'd be
We'll
cool
see how it goes.
if he even just made an appearance. I've only ever actually seen Jacob in person the one time at my house last year.
Well, fun fact: Jacob was one of the founding members of Backyard Build.
I
he's
know
just
he was one of the
Never
finest.
wheeled.
no,
And
like,
actually,
He
I
actually
noticed.
was with not Gus and Paul. Who the fucking Paul? Not Paul Revere. Never mind. Anyways, I was gonna make a joke about the guys who went across the fucking river to like out west.
Lewis and Clark.
Lewis and Clark, Sacagawea. Okay, to be fair, so the reason why I said Gus and Paul's is there are two pharmacies that are in Western Mass. One is called Gus and Paul's,
yeah.
one's called Lewis and Clark.
What- Is that like Lewis and Clark? The Wish Lewis and Clark? Would they take a kayak?
They didn't have Sacagawea, they had some other chick.
You know, one's got a kayak, the other's in one of those tubes, drinking beer the whole way. I'd be down for that.
So
Gus and
is this
Paul.
a Wish.com podcast?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
fuck me.
It's all the knockoff brands.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
We are the knockoff brand.
the knockoff off-road podcast. Here we are. Wish.com.
Yeah, it's not like that.
You wanted an
Yes.
off-road podcast, dude. This is what you get.
But yeah,
Sorry,
back-
story time with Gary and Terry.
Funny enough, I don't know if I've ever talked about it on the podcast about me almost buying Jacob's two-door.
I don't know
Way
if you
back
have,
when, bro.
yeah. Small
talking-
fucking world.
Dude, way back when a buddy of mine, Brandon, was into Cherokee.
That two-door literally, like, for
That thing
us,
sucked.
started Backyard Built. Like,
It was so clapped out. Dude, Jacob was like, yeah, I bet that thing would run down the highway. Mind you, we're all the way out in fucking Salem,
Dude,
pretty
dude.
much.
he drove 4 hours to and from Maine multiple times in that thing. With,
He just
like,
he
as
wanted
it was.
too much money though. He wanted like 15 and would not drop from there. We had like 900. Like me and Tessie were the biggest douchebags. Like I swear to God, my Facebook buyer rating is half of a star. I'm not kidding you. Like the amount of just bullshittery of me just being like $500, $500, and then showing up and being like, yeah, I got 200. That's about all I could give you. Like so we would do that, and we showed up to poor Jacob's storage unit. I ended up pissing in the middle of the parking lot because we didn't give a fuck. Like, it was hilarious. Either way, we show up, we're looking at the thing,
Dude,
we're
that's
like,
irrelevant. Nobody needs to know where you're peeing in the storage unit.
but I'm just saying, like, that's like the story
Well,
behind
I mean,
it
Jacob
all.
was the
It's
one
like
who's
the
trying to sell his
adventure.
Jeep he got for $450 to you for $1,500. Who's the bigger asshole here?
But, like, we were like $900. He's like, no. We're like, okay, fine. And then we just left. And then from there, then just randomly one day, I forget what the fuck we were talking about. I think it was the truck. And I remember the truck. He showed us the truck, and that's what like sparked the memory. But it was cool because like he was the only storage unit with power. He was the only one there that could really work on stuff, right? Like everybody else
Yeah.
had like he got it, he like grandfathered in where he could do things where everybody else like couldn't.
Well, no, I don't know how he got that one specifically. He wasn't grandfathered in by any means. He had too much shit, so he had to get that storage unit, and he happened to get the one that was next to the junction box for the rest of the whole, like, that whole building, so he could just plug into the power outlets because the door was literally there and it wasn't locked. So, and I guess the
Yeah.
only caveat was like they had to be able to get in if anything happened and they needed to, work on the fuse panel. But whatever, just got a
Yeah.
shitbox Jeep in there.
It's pretty cool. I'm excited to see Jacob come out wheeling. Like he's a good dude, so he'll be definitely a good time to be around for sure. And
Yeah,
we'll
he
have
just-
another
he just
small
needs
guy.
He needs to have a rig to actually go because he's like, he's part of the club, he's committed to it and stuff, but he's just like, there's no motivation to work on it because he doesn't actually get to use any of it. So
Tell him to bring the Renegade.
No,
the Renegade will not be off-roading, I don't think.
I think just his biggest problem is he has so many hands and so many baskets at one time that it's tough for him to stick to one of them. It's just
Yep.
And I mean, all the kudos to him, but like I've had to come to that realization where like I just can't do all the shit I used to plus what I want to do now. And there's just no, unless I'm a fucking millionaire, there's no way, not a millionaire, but like,
You need to be more than a millionaire because millionaires
yeah,
still don't have a lot of time.
exactly.
Dude, trust me. I get that.
So
Fucking yeah. I have too many expensive hobbies, and now the girl's getting into the other one of my expensive hobbies, and that hobby just got more expensive.
the midget porn hobby, or
If by midget porn you mean AR pistols, yes.
hey, AR pistols, just small ARs. It's the same thing. It's a midget AR, dude.
Oh God. But yeah, no. Graham, I give you a lot of props for having one hobby. Kish, I don't know how you do
One
it.
hobby? You think I've got one?
Okay. 2 hobbies if we count the nerd shit.
I mean, 2 main ones, yeah, I guess. But I've been
what
sticking-
other things would you consider to be a hobby? Then go ahead, tell us.
I mean, he's not wrong. Those are like the main
Uh,
ones. But
What about sport? Do you play sports?
oh yeah,
ball?
I all those sports. Yep.
Well, he's a
I
winner,
can throw the golf ball right through the goal.
You do run though, so don't take credit from that. You go out and you exercise and run, so that's impressive because I know for sure my fat ass ain't running. So
So I gotta ask: do you use the 9-iron when you're swinging for baseball? Or
Oh,
do
no,
you
You know how many
prefer
home runs
the,
I've got with the putter?
Now, when you're playing baseball, do you prefer to throw the basketball or a football?
No. It's about the soccer ball. You got to have those hexagonal patches. You can line those up with your finger. The little inserts just they fit perfectly.
It's all
Oh,
fun
God.
and games until they start throwing bowling balls and you're stuck with a putter.
Oh shit!
Yay, sports ball.
Yeah, sports are great. The sports podcast coming soon.
Oh God!
Yes.
The Wish Sports Podcast.
And we just found the name for the podcast.
Yeah, I think we did.
Oh man!
All right. So I got to ask because little birdie told me through the grapevine, i.e., an angry wife, Kish, you were working on your Jeep? Say it's
Yeah.
not so.
Yeah, well, because I keep fucking forgetting that Badlands is just next week.
Yeah.
By
So,
the
yeah,
way,
I have to get moving on shit. So yeah,
for
I was
everyone
down
that
at the
can't
shop.
see the video, that is a double middle finger to everyone here that is going to Badlands.
Well, you decided to fucking move to Tennessee before Badlands. You didn't have to do that.
You're not wrong, but you're also not correct.
No. This is where
we'll
you're
just
like,
give it-
I'll work for you, but not until the end of July. Boom. There you go.
Yay! No money. Boom.
My lease
Whatever.
was ending at the July 1st, so
It's okay. Mall parking lots, they're really not that bad.
you are the expert here. But, sorry.
See, but at least if you went to a truck stop, you could have got a lot lizard to at least accompany you for the night.
No,
Like-
but I had IHOP. I had options. There was an IHOP. There was a McDonald's. I didn't go to any of them. I'd have to walk to the front of the mall because I didn't have a fucking vehicle that would have driven me there. But technically I could have survived there. There really was nothing like Dollar Tree. I could just live out of the truck, right? It wouldn't be too bad to be a homeless person at a mall as long as you didn't get caught.
I actually knew a homeless guy that lived at a mall.
Exactly. So like it's not that bad of a gig. Like
Back in
get
Boy
the quarters
Scouts,
out of the
we used to sell chocolates or whatever, like the Boy Scout or it was Cub Scouts at the time. And I remember there was a homeless dude that lived at a mall that we'd always give a chocolate bar to every time we went.
All right. Well, I
Oh,
think we're getting a
Jesus.
little away from Kish working on his Jeep because that's
Sorry.
a monumental event in and of itself.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I kind of just put my foot down and said, "Fuck you, I'm going to the shop," and that went over exactly as everyone would imagine. Anyways,
Somewhat like a Led Zeppelin, perhaps.
yeah, something like that. The airship, not the musician.
Well, I don't think the actual. You mean the Hindenburg?
Yes, that's a joke.
All right, continue. So it crashed like a hydrogen balloon.
R/whoosh.
Yeah, so I got my frame rail straightened out from my accident back in February, and I cut all the plates and braces for my new bumper.
Nice.
Sweet. Are we gonna get pictures, or are you just kind of pretending so that you feel cool?
No, I just didn't take any pictures because I was fucking sweating my balls off, fucking cussing at everything.
I will say this: I feel bad for you guys back home because rumor has it you guys caught all of the humidity.
Yeah,
And the heat last week.
yeah.
For the first
Yeah,
time.
I was shocked. You guys were not to derail too far because I'm actually very proud of you, Kish. It's awesome, and I'm glad that you're using the shop while I'm fucking not there. It's been like high 80s all week with low humidity out here. I heard back home that, or from the kid that just moved down. I can't even call him a kid. He's older than me and he's married. From the young man that moved down here, that when he left, it was 100 degrees in Connecticut.
Yep.
Yeah, it was 85 down here with low humidity.
Eat shit. All right.
For most
We live
of
here,
the
so
last
we get like temperate weather. We don't want the fucking hot shit. You can have that.
Yeah. Fuck
For
that.
most of the week last week at my work, we had triple digits all week long, starting at like 8 in the morning.
Damn, I'm gonna
All
constantly
week
fight
long.
with these Southerners to turn the AC up. I'm like, come on, guys. Does it really need to be 65 in here? It's 100 outside.
We're not amused, by the way. I don't know if you can see us. We're not smiling or laughing or clapping for you, asshole.
I'm gonna slap the piss off of you.
Well, that means
Jesus.
that you're gonna come down to Roush, so that's a win for me. I don't care if I get a nice hard dick slap.
Wait,
across the face for that?
How are you getting your Jeep from up here? You driving your truck up here to get the
I'm
truck?
cannonballing it. I'm leaving work and heading up, and I'm gonna drive until I crash, sleep in the parking lot, and then start driving again.
Oh God.
Pick my Jeep up, go to the shop, get all of my tools, load all that stuff up, and then go back down.
No.
Jesus Christ.
Not to take away from what you're saying, Luke, but on Saturday when I was at work at like 9 in the morning, because we started at 7, my boss came up to check on me because I was setting up some machines, and he started in talking about sending me home because when he walked up, I was standing over a puddle of my sweat, and he couldn't figure out why I was sweating that much. I'm like, because it's fucking hot.
That's horrible. I'm happy that I don't have to deal with that right now.
Well, it doesn't
The
help.
guy
the fact
wearing a
that-
hoodie.
Dude, it's a chilly 63 in my room right now.
See, my AC works pretty good, but last week, let me tell you, by noon, it was struggling. It was not keeping up. It was bad.
To clarify,
Well,
you also have two very warm PCs in your room that are 100%
Yeah,
keeping you hot, like warm.
yeah, but that's not the main thing. The main thing is the windows that
Yeah,
I got.
but think of what he's saying. He's not
Like I was
heating.
literally closing the blinds because I didn't want the heat to come in and heat the room up, because that's what it was doing. It was just heating up my fucking apartment.
Actually, on that note, I have a towel with two tacks that I stick into the windowsill, because for the people that can't see, there's a window behind me, and when it actually gets like warm out, my central air can't keep up. So by blocking the windows off, it definitely helps.
Why wouldn't you just get a fucking like a drape, instead of a towel?
Because towels are cheaper. This is
That's
the Wish
very-
podcast. We
It's
give you
very-
Wish
Have you
advice.
not forgotten that this is, like he said, the Wish podcast? And if I'm being brutally honest, I am so in love with the area that I'm probably not going to be staying here, so I'm not willing to put any money into this place at all.
Wait, what? You just said you're so in love with the area that you're not planning on staying.
I'm buying a house.
Oh, I understand now. That makes more sense.
He loves the area so much, he's not going to invest in living there at all.
No, I'm going to be buying a house like in probably the next 6 months because.
But it's in the middle of the market, man, or fucking housing market bullshit. Bleh.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, whatever. Fuck it.
I just
fucking awesome.
I just heard Colin screaming in my ear right there. So
Did you hear anything about the gooseneck argument too?
Oh,
the bumper pull 2-car? We won't get into that one, but
that is an entire podcast in itself.
Oh, that was a beautiful thing. We
you want
came
a
to a
2-car bumper pull, or do you want a 2-car gooseneck?
Gooseneck.
Colin says
Gooseneck.
bumper pull all day, which doesn't make any fucking sense, and I don't even tow
because
things.
he's never towed he's never towed either of the. Well, hold on. I don't believe he has towed a similar gooseneck to a bumper pull. Let me just clarify that.
I will take either. I'm not very picky.
Well, with how heavy
I would love a gooseneck.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna. I want a gooseneck so much. I'm gonna put it on my fucking bumper pull.
Sick.
on my trailer hitch. That's how much I want a gooseneck.
Okay.
At least you
can't
get
be that much of a Wish.com podcast.
That's
a little much.
So that's too far.
That's a little. You went over the edge there. Let's reel it back in.
Let's reel it back in.
Kind of guy.
Anyone got any final thoughts for this one?
No, get us out of here. It's any worse.
So just remember, when you order from Wish.com and you select podcast, there is a 2-week delay, and we'll see you next time, you lucky bastards.